everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. We actually have everybody on today. How about that? What's going on, guys?
Go ahead, Pat.
Actually, I just, it was funny because I said that I was doing some filming for the last couple of days. And, while we were filming yesterday, U.S. women's team scored the goal in overtime.
Nice.
So we were filming live, and then all of a sudden there was that cheer, which is kind of cool because obviously it kind of played into we were filming in the bar, at the bar, talking to the bar owner, and at that moment in time they scored the winning goal, so everybody cheered.
Nice.
Was a cool moment that got captured in the filming, so it was nice.
That is cool, and it's good that they won too. When they scored first, Canada did, and I was like, okay, here we go. But they made it a good game, and the fact they went to overtime, I love overtime games. That means it's competitive, and nobody has excuses. I love that.
Hopefully, the men's has been all overtime games, which has been kind of cool to see.
Mm-hmm.
It really does show exactly how far away the talent is between the countries when it comes to, in basketball has kind of come up, and I know that's Summer Olympics, so I'm not really going to spend a lot of time on that, but that the world is kind of caught up to the U.S.
Yeah.
Canada and unfortunately Russia, that's not even allowed to have a team right now. We're always usually the top.
Mm-hmm.
And USA would kind of get in the mix of it, and the Czech Republic and Sweden also had something to say about that. So it's going to be interesting because it's the four, and Sidney Crosby is not going to be able to play because he got beat up by Radko Gudas in the last game.
Yeah, they're playing Finland, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And who did it now? The U.S. Who is the U.S.'s next opponent?
Slovakia today.
Oh, we got Slovakia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. Well, one thing I thought about the women's was the fact that they didn't really give up hardly any goals throughout the whole thing. I mean, there's just a handful of goals, right?
2 goals throughout the entire tournament.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
But the fact that they were down 1-0 to 2 minutes and 3 seconds left, I mean.
Yeah.
They were getting nervous,
mm-hmm.
Doing all those shutouts and all those games, and to get shut out for, just about 96% of the game.
Yeah.
And then wind up scoring with the last 2 minutes. And then I knew once they went to 3-on-3 that they were going to win because Canada just doesn't have that type of speed. The women have so much more speed. The American women had so much more speed than Canada. Canada was playing very defensive. Once they scored that goal, they were very defensive the entire game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's ultimately, it's like in hockey, you can get away with it a lot more until you pull the goalie and you got that 6-on-5 attacker and they just started chasing the puck a little bit. And that's how they were able to get that goal.
Yeah.
Then, was cool. It was also kind of neat because the just the way they scored, they were in overtime, right? That was that was that individual effort right there. It was it was a cool shot.
Well, the funny thing was, so did you see the thing they showed right after the game with her, the person that scored, her brother?
Mm-mm.
So 2 days prior to her scoring the game-winning goal against Canada, her brother hit the game-winning 3 for Iowa State to beat Houston.
Oh, cool!
For college basketball on Tuesday night.
I think one has a little bit more.
That is not cool. They beat Houston.
It's just like clutch genes. Clutch genes runs in the family. One has more meaning, but that just shows that clutch genes run in the family. Like your little brother knocks off the number 2 team in the country on a corner 3, and then your sister goes and individually efforts the game winner against Canada.
And the state of Wisconsin rejoiced. That's what they were showing. They were showing like 4 different locations in Wisconsin.
Yeah, a lot of Wisconsin players on that national team for the women.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Wisconsin is one of those hockey type states. That and Minnesota, right? Minnesota's got a pretty good hockey environment, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Michigan can kind of be put up into that same mix. Penn State's trying to get into the mix. Yeah, they were able to get, like I said, the guy who's probably going to be the number 1 draft pick in the NHL. But
yeah,
it'll be interesting. But it was cool to kind of see all the men's 3 of the 4 quarterfinal games went to overtime. And of course, Canada and US were able to pull it out. And ultimately, I kind of see it like I kind of see the rest of these games being very close.
I do too.
In general.
Mm-hmm.
So it wouldn't surprise me.
I think US and Slovakia could be the one that's not close. But I think I would not be surprised if Finland took Canada to overtime without Sidney Crosby being there.
Sidney Crosby is old. He's not.
Old,
he's like a third line player. I don't.
He's old, but it's still his leadership though in like clutch situations that Canada missed when he went out. Like he doesn't score nearly as much as he does, but he still does a lot of the leadership traits that a lot of that Canadian team doesn't have. Which is why Team US tried to get Patrick Kane to play for them in this Olympics, just because the leadership that he's had in the Olympics in the past, but he just said he wasn't healthy enough to do it. But US just wanted Patrick Kane just basically to be a 4th line winger, but just bring him there just for the leadership for clutch situations.
Right. You know what though? I can't stand them in the NHL. But for like when they're on my team for Team USA, the Kachucks.
Oh God!
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Both of them. Like it's like they have cemented themselves as great players. I mean, their father was even better, but the fact that they have really kind of become household names because of how they played in the World Cup last year, when both of the brothers got into a fight in 9 seconds against Canada, which we spoke about just the other day on the show. And then, how it'll be very interesting because I suspect that it's going to be US and Canada in the finals.
I think
unless a big upset occurs, it should be. Because they really are the 2 best teams. And I would be very interested to see, because that's been a year in the making where the U.S. wants to get retribution on Canada.
Right. And how crazy would that be for the men and women's to get gold over Canada?
That'd be crazy.
That would be nuts.
Has that ever even happened before?
Well, I can't say what happened. I mean, this is the 3rd time the U.S. women's got gold. And it's only been a thing for like 6 Olympics. Yeah. Maybe 5 Olympics. Because I think they won the 1st time, the 3rd time, and the 5th time. So they do every other. So it might be, it might have only been a thing for 5 Olympics. Yeah, so the men's and women's U.S. hockey team has never won gold the same exact year. There you go.
Man, that'd be crazy if you could make history on that one.
Has Canada?
Canada has, yes.
Yeah.
All men as one, men's and women's.
Yep, Canada's won obviously 5 of the 7 Olympic golds for women. The men and the women both won gold in 2022.
Hold on. That can't be true. The U.S. won 3 golds. So is this the 8th?
Yeah, this is the 8th one, yeah.
All right, that's right. So it's only been Canada and U.S. that's ever won gold.
Yep.
Okay, that's interesting. That's an interesting stat there. Look at Stat Boy coming up with stat guy.
U.S. women won it in 98, 2018, and then this year, and then Canada won 2002, 6, 10, 14. So they actually won 4 in a row. And then they got it in 2022, and then the men won in 1980 and in 1960. But they have not.
Right. Well, for hockey, we don't do very well.
Yeah.
I think, and we lost to Canada not too long ago. It was long enough, but Sidney Crosby scored the game-winning goal. I remember that in the
Yep.
Olympics. I remember being at a party. We're watching that game. It was a good game, and Richards, who was a flyer at the time, wound up giving the assist to Crosby. They put him on the same line. And I hated it because Crosby was the one that scored the goal for Canada against US, and Richards was the one that got the assist. But of course, I didn't want either one of that to occur because I wanted the US to win.
To show how bad the U.S. hockey team has been, though, in the past, they have not medaled since 2010 for men's hockey. 2010 was their silver medal. They have not medaled bronze or anything since that 2010 Olympics.
Right, and I remember that. That's the 2010 is when they lost in overtime to Sidney Crosby.
So this win or lose, they're still playing for like their first medal for the first time in a long time. Because they lose, obviously they go to the bronze.
They'll play for the bronze, right?
So they're at least going for their first medal since 2010 this year for the men's side.
And how many Olympics has the NHL or the professional American players been on the team?
So
2002 for sure, because that was the one that was in Salt Lake City.
yeah, I want to say probably starting in 98
Okay.
with a break in, well, I guess it was 96 because it's 98, 202, 06. I think in 2006, they did not allow NHL players to play in it.
Okay.
And
They
who won the golden?
2006 they did. So
Was it before that? It couldn't have been 2002 then. So it
there's
had to.
six of them in total: 1998, 2002, 2006, 2010, 2014, and now 2026 have been the 6 Olympics NHL players have been allowed to play in.
So 18 and 22 they did not.
Yep.
Okay.
Interesting.
Who won golds in those?
Canada.
Both of them?
Yep.
Because they had the better juniors.
Yeah, because
at
they
that point,
have
too.
the best junior league in the world up in Canada there.
Mm-hmm.
Where that junior level league is probably better than the AHL, which is the top minor league for the NHL. Like that junior league up in Canada is ridiculous.
So, yeah, if you're
That
going
is
to play,
interesting.
if you're going to play hockey, you can go to Canada or you can go to Finland or stuff like that. You can go play in the KHL, but the Norwegian, that Norwegian league is also a really good one.
Mhm.
I mean,
You can play in
Jaromir
Russia.
Jagr
You
still
have to
plays.
defect if you want to get to the Olympics.
right?
Let me see something here.
So, how long is that how long is that ban for? I guess that's in perpetuity as long as Putin is the president.
Probably.
Yeah, it's probably something to that effect. I don't know that I've actually seen like a end date, so it's probably something like that.
Yeah, so the whole NHL players thing must have been like included in some sort of a CBA because it said in 1998 it was the first year for NHL participation. And then 2002, 2006, 2010 it says all included in the agreement. 2014 was the final tournament of the original agreement, which led to the 12-year hiatus, and now they came back this year, and NHL has confirmed that 2030 the players will be back playing in the Olympics. So it must be something whenever they have like a CBA or something where the CBA said they could play in it.
Yes, in Italy, and they, I tell you what though, that Italian female goaltender,
She's good.
was playing on her head, like she was standing on her head for real. She got peppered with shots. Like, what did she get? Like 60 shots on her, and she let up still 10% at 6 goals. It was like 6-0 against the Americans. But she was getting crushed with shots. Like some of those saves were like amazing saves. It could have been much, much worse.
Hey, let me ask you this: what is there's a league that a friend of mine is going to come on the show. I guess it's NA3HL. Have you ever heard of that league, Justin? I don't know if you've ever heard. That sounds like something you might
That's
know.
the North American threes on 3-on-3s.
Yeah.
Okay, is
So
that a
it's,
professional league or is that an amateur?
Well,
league?
it's it's a semi-pro league. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It's a little bit different. What it does is it only requires you to have like 12 people on the team, and
Okay.
it's better for rinks like in Houston and stuff like that. Like when you're
Right.
playing down south, you're not getting as much hockey, so
Right.
you're not going to get an influx of players going to southern states to play hockey. Everybody's going to go up to North Dakota and Montana and
Yeah.
Minnesota and Utah and those types of places because it's colder there. You could play hockey more often.
And the show, and like, to show you what you're kind of talking about too, with like making it easier on like the ice rinks and stuff. There's 38 teams in that league. Like it is a massive, massive league.
Right. Well, yeah, but that's because you're getting a lot more play time.
Yep.
Because when you only have, I guess there's 14 or maybe 15 people on each team. So you got 3 goalies or 2 or 3 goalies, and then the rest are 4 lines of 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you have like 4 defensemen really, and the rest are wingers. So you got like 8 wingers and 4 defensemen, and you're floating around. And I think that clock doesn't stop either. I think that's a continuous clock. Once it starts, it's 20 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
I think the only time it stops is the penalty, just to like announce the penalty and like what the penalty.
Or like face-offs and stuff like that. They do have it. Like I mean, I don't know. Or maybe that's not. Yeah, maybe it's only that because, like I said, it is continuous.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not 100% certain on that either. So.
Or it might just stop on goals too, just to reset everything.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Because like in the NHL and college hockey and all that stuff, it stops for like every face-off. It stops for like everything. I think this just stops for goals, just to reset everything, and then just the quick penalty thing to reset it. Otherwise, it's running clock on icing, running clock on everything.
So would that type of league be good for like if you let's say you were trying to get into the NHL?
No,
But yet you don't. Would that be like a minor league type of thing where you can try to get
yes and no, but you're taking 2 steps there or 3 steps really. Like your next step from that, if you were doing well there, like if you fell through the cracks enough to get into that league, the next league you're getting into is either the WHA and then to the AHL. And then to the NHL
or the ECHL,
yeah,
which is
so. I mean, you're going in a couple of different steps.
Yeah,
likely those 3-on-3 hockeys are more set for guys that played in the AHL and didn't make it into the NHL and are really too old but don't want to stop playing.
Gotcha.
Guys that'll start learning. Coaching, because you'll see a lot of player coaches down in those leagues. It teaches them how to deal with power plays and running practices, because a lot of those practices, when you're dealing with that, it's a lot of odd man rushes.
Right.
When you're dealing 3-on-3, it's all odd man rushes. And I really wish this is one of the things that I wish the Flyers would do more of, because they can't do an odd man rush to save their lives. It's like it used to be 2-on-1s were like guaranteed goals. Now we're lucky if we even get a shot on net, and that's a problem.
Right.
Yeah, I really do. I would love to be able to skate and play hockey, because I would love to coach it a little bit, because I feel that there is the one thing that doesn't happen enough in hockey today would still be like when a team does that, they score a lot of goals. That is why Tampa Bay, the Lightning, win a lot of games. That's why actually Dallas was really good at it. They would win a lot of games. They plant somebody in front of the net and do the deflections. Tim Kerr, back in the day, he made a whole hockey career. Like he scored like power play goal after power play goal because he'd plant in front of the net. You could not move him. He was 225 pounds of tree trunk standing in front of the net, and you would just shoot it at him, and he would use his stick to just deflect it up or down, and it would score goals. Bo is getting his history, getting a lesson in hockey because he's covering hockey. He doesn't know a lot about it. He knows enough to be able to speak, but he's getting a lesson in hockey. Yeah.
Mostly, I ate something that is messing my stomach up, so I'm just over here trying to keep it together.
Hey, listen, I bet you we'd get a lot more views if you yak it up.
For real.
So, Bo, what have you learned so far in listening to Pags? What notes have you taken so far?
Oh, was I listening to Pags? Damn it.
So it's good to say that no copious notes were taken then.
Well, you know what? The interesting thing is that Seattle, I mean, the Kraken is back there again. They did have a team before this, but Seattle as a whole don't.
It was 100 years ago that we had another team. So I mean.
Right. So they're learning again about hockey. They like hockey. They are showing up to the arenas. You know what I mean? So there are some people that are interested, but the average 12er.
We've had hockey. So we didn't have an NHL team, but we did have two good lower level teams. So the Seattle Thunderbirds been around forever. And then we had the Everett Silvertips. So both those stadiums fill out and always have. So it's we had been lobbying to get the NHL here forever. We just didn't have the stadium they liked. So when we finally rebuilt the stadium, that's when we got our NHL team. But we've been trying to get it here for 30 years.
All right.
And I wonder how many of the Seattle people are Canucks fans by proxy.
Not many. Yeah.
Because up until that point, it was, when you guys didn't have that, it was, and Vancouver had Pavel Bure, and, they had a lot of those they had some great players go through the Canucks.
Yeah, Mark Messier.
Yeah, no, they would basically fall in line with, again, the Thunderbirds or the Tips whenever they'd play Vancouver's lower level team. There's a rivalry there.
Of course, as there should be.
Yeah, so even people that were hockey fans, it was still U.S. teams. Like it was sprinkled around the U.S. if you were going NHL. Not a ton of them were Vancouver fans.
And that arena holds what, like 15,000 people?
No, I think it can hold 18.
So, and does it sell out most of the time? I know that you're there a lot now, so.
Yeah. You fill that place out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to go up to a game out there.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good times. It is. It is funny though being up in the press booth because theirs is up in the rafters, so the view is amazing. But
interesting enough, that's where it's at for Philly too. The press box is all the way up top. At the Spectrum, it didn't used to be. It actually was in the middle, which was, then they realized, hey, listen, why are we giving the press these prime seating?
Yeah.
So then they moved them, but so they have it all the way up at the very, very top. You get a whole area of press stuff.
It actually has its own catwalk. Like it's its own platform, which is cool.
Right.
So, but it's funny because when you're covering the WNBA, same arena, our press tables are, almost courtside.
Nice.
What do you mean, Joe? Do you mean the IHL, the Italian Hockey League, isn't just brewing with all those amazing players up there? Yeah. I tell you, I mean, like I said, I grew up with hockey, so I know, like, that was how I learned how to become a fan in general. And I will tell you that I have been so unhappy with the Flyers because there is nothing better. First off, the Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy in sports to achieve.
Mhm.
And it's the playoffs are so much better when the Flyers are in it.
Yeah.
And it's a shame. Like, it's for everybody. It's so much better when the Flyers are in it, and they just have not been good enough. The last time that they were good enough and they were ready to make a run, COVID hit.
So
Nope. Last time Seattle hockey's been good enough to be in it was 1919. So it's been a couple of years.
but wait a minute. But wasn't it just a couple of years ago that you guys were in the playoffs? I remember we played against you guys.
Yeah. No, we've been in the playoffs. They just actually won the Stanley Cup in 1919.
Yeah.
Been that long? Jeez.
They didn't have a team.
We
They
didn't
didn't
have
have
a
a
team for
team.
about 100 years. And they actually could have won a second one the next year. But the entire opposing team got sick. So they never played the final game.
Wow. That's interesting. That is interesting. Well, if the Cowboys don't make changes, we might not get another Super Bowl till like 21-30 and then be like, we haven't had a good team since 100 years.
It's all right. Not even going to have football by then. Well, the scientists will all be dead. So, I mean, this panel certainly will be.
I will be up in heaven looking. That coming. I knew they were going to get it eventually because I feel like that's when Jerry Jones is going to finally die. It's probably like 21. I think he's going to get. Well, I feel like he's going to get cryogenically frozen. He has enough money that he can, and then come back to life.
It's going to be like Jay. It's going to be like multiplicity. He's probably cloned himself 5 times by now.
For real.
You know what, Dustin? That is possibly true.
And every time he clones himself, he gets dumber and dumber. So get ready for more dumb decisions to come.
Oh, I mean, it's possible to get more dumb than it already is. I mean, that's pretty interesting.
It's about to.
I don't know. Hey, Pags, that Parker guy that we got from you, he's looking like he might be pretty good, especially learning under Fangio. And I think he's turned out with Green Bay. So I'm curious to see what he can do that Eberflus couldn't do.
We'll see.
Yeah, we definitely will.
I'm not sure who you're even talking about. I wish you the best.
I appreciate that, Pags. I can feel the warmth and compassion for where I'm at. I feel it.
So I am going to change it a little bit here. Okay. And and this is going to be like Bo is going to be able to speak about this a little bit, hopefully. There's been some weirdo stuff going on with F1.
Oh yeah.
A lot of cheating with F1. That the way that the rules are situated, they do their testing, all the testing when it comes to like a cold car. And because they're not doing any testing once the car is actually at race speed, that there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And teams are calling other teams cheaters, and Red Bull is doing a lot of stuff with the fuel, and now McLaren is doing stuff with the carbon fiber.
Yeah.
And like and F1 is having real difficulties being able to manage this. And for a lot of people, F1 is like, it used to be horse racing was the sport of kings. This is now the sport of of kings now, like the sport of sultans and stuff. There's lots and lots and lots of money in there.
F1 is absolutely the sport of whoever throws the most money at it's going to win. Like that's the thing. The carbon fiber wings has been the most interesting part of this. Is them getting rid of drag, because they test the wings in certain spots, and so what they were doing is making the blocking within it in a little bit different spots. So when they do the flex test, they only do it one direction, and it allows and it stays rigid. But because they've realigned the way that the blocking inside that holds the shape, it'll deflect at speed, and it allows it to remove some of the drag. So they're actually getting almost an increase of like 5 horsepower, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're all right there at the same thing, that's the difference between driving away from somebody and not.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well,
So-
and then, but that is combative against the thing that's going on with the fuel.
Mhm.
Like that, they are like when you test the fuel at a different time at a specific time, and because Red Bull owns like 4 of the racing teams.
Yep.
Like it's like 4. There's only like 7 or 8 racing teams in F1 in total, and because Red Bull owns 4 of them, if it was to get voted, they couldn't vote the rule out.
Mhm.
But
Well,
now,
and some of these things will be illegal next year, but they technically weren't as of yet, and so you get to finish the year out the way it is. Similar, and the thing that's funny is like the wing with the blocking placement inside it. Basically they're like, yeah, we're doing it. Everyone could do it. You have to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like, if you have that technology, certainly somebody else is out there figuring out that technology too.
Well,
that they
that's-
can do it, but
That's the thing is you can. These guys just happen to have engineers designing this over the last couple of years.
right,
Everyone else is late to the game, even thinking about it. So the odds of them finding that perfect mix is low. Right. At
Right.
least by the time this season ends. And then it'll be illegal for next year, so it won't matter. Same with manipulating the fuel. They're going to find a way to regulate that. But again, all of these little cheating tricks, it doesn't explicitly say you can't. So
right,
Yeah.
that's kind of what it is. It's like, so I guess my next question that kind of bases off of that is the Le Mans, right? That 24-hour race
Yep.
is not like, it could be any vehicle, correct? You could have any vehicle at any type of, like, you could do anything you want in that race, right? It's like carte blanche, correct?
no. There are rule requirements for it.
Yeah.
So what you're seeing is multi-class racing. So there's different classes running at the same time.
Mhm.
And so that's where you'll see, like, you'll see the Corvette race car out there, and then you'll see something that has no chance beating that car at the same time. It's because you have multi-class racing. So there's multiple races running at the same time. And then there's also the overall winner.
Yeah, like
which
you
is
could have a
never one
car.
of the lower classes.
Yeah, you could have a car like take 23rd, but still win their class because they could finish
Correct.
first place, like first of their grouping of their class.
wow, I did
So-
not know that.
Is
That's
there
interesting.
any type of vehicle race that's out there that is like, hey, listen, if you could do it to the car, that's great. This is hey, there is no rules. Just, we want the fastest vehicles that you can get out there. Let's race.
The race that I was at last year in Elkhart Lake is like that.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Like, that would be kind of cool to see. Like, you had some of those F1 cars with
Yeah.
all the modifications that they could have to get every inch of output and horsepower from the engines,
So
along with
the thing that's funny is the cars used to be even faster. There was a period of time that they threw helicopter engines in F1 cars, and they had trouble with them staying on the track. So
I bet.
those got outlawed, and but you're going to see F1 cars go back to V8s. They're going to start getting rid of the 4-cylinder hybrids, and I think they're 2 years away from bringing the V8s back. So Cadillac just debuted their F1 car. They're running a Ferrari engine the next couple of years, and as soon as the V8's going to come back, they're going to throw the their V motor in it, which is going to be ridiculous.
EA Sports came out with they have an F1 car. They had it on display when we were there at the Super Bowl, and it was a thing of beauty. I mean, it was gorgeous vehicle. You couldn't get close enough to it. I was standing on the carpet that it was on, and somebody came over and says, "Please don't stand on the carpet." You know what I mean? Like, and I wasn't doing anything. I'm just taking a picture with the car, doing a little video. He waited till I was done my video and then says, "Please get off the carpet." You know what I mean? It was like, because he knew that I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't like ready to jump in the car and try to drive it off or anything.
Joe, this is us being inclusive. We wanted to give you something y'all are good at.
Oh, shots are fired.
And I tell you what, Joe, hey, listen, if you know, I am working on trying to get involved with F1. If I get involved with F1, I'm coming to see you, Joe. I'll be coming to see you.
So you're going to go back to the motherland.
Yeah.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
I will tell you that the director of who was filming yesterday was also from Italy.
Nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
yeah, see, I keep trying to get involved in F1, and it just ends up with me being involved in F me. That is really where my life is.
I was trying to be F1, but now I'm just F0.
Exactly.
So in the F1 cars, they're obviously rear engine cars. So
yeah, it's technically a mid-engine, but yeah.
Is it mid-engine? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, those cars are really big. When I see them on TV, they don't look that big. But when I see one in person, I was like, wow, that's a lot bigger car than I thought.
They're a big car. F1 and Indy,
right.
which Indy obviously is open wheel as well. They're similar sizes. The rules are wildly different as far as what you can do to the cars.
Yeah, and it's interesting because of like all the controls are really on the steering wheel, and the steering wheel's got all these buttons. I know that when I went to the F1 arcade, which that's all it is like that's how people train. They actually they're like, if you're going to learn how to drive an F1 car, you're going to learn on this simulator. And they have arcades, and that's why they're doing that. Like, they're putting out these arcades because if somebody gets that good, they're going to put them behind the wheel.
Yeah, they already have.
So it's
that was when they were doing that movie Gran Turismo. Remember that one?
Yep.
Great movie.
Yeah, it is actually a really good movie.
The amount of controls on the steering wheel is amazing too. Like, obviously you're shifting and everything there, but you actually can adjust the weight jacking of the car. Like, there's so much you can do on the steering wheel is absolutely crazy.
Right. I mean, and somebody who's never done anything with an F1 car, trying to just get, and trying to figure out anything. It's like, all right, the gas and the brake, I know that. That's it. End of story. Now I just crash.
That's right. Use the wall. It works in the video games.
Yeah, exactly.
It actually worked in NASCAR once too. So they did end up making it so you can't do that anymore. But a guy that was trying to get into the chase you have to get into the chase to be able to win the championship, right? It's a playoff system for NASCAR. And this guy needed to place like 5 spots ahead of where he was. And he just put his foot on the floor, ran it up into the wall, and slingshot around and made the chase. Destroyed the car.
Actually, destroyed the car, but he wound up getting in. He wound up winning that race, actually. He was able to, because he just floored it. They show it on Instagram, right? Like, that's that one.
So he didn't win the race, but he moved enough positions forward to get into the chase. But yeah, he wasn't the race winner, but he had to get ahead of like 3 other cars or 4 other cars. And so, yeah, he just put it in the wall and off he went. And it was pretty great.
I know that because I hear it's Skyfall. What as they're listening to you're listening to the conversation between the pit crew and the driver, and the driver's like, I'm just going to step on the gas and not stop until I see, a checkered flag or God, a checkered flag or God, and the sky fall, and it's like, and then he's like hits the wall, and he guns it, and he gets past all those people. I thought he was because the checkered flag is what kind of did it. It was like, I thought he got the checkered
it's
flag.
because
So.
everybody gets the checker coming across, but
Right.
but no, like that was crazy. There's also another video where it shows all the other drivers and crews conversations.
Yeah.
You're like, did you just see that?
What the hell? I get that because they actually put that into that same video where you
Yeah.
hear that they're like, "Oh my God! Did you just see that? I can't believe that! What just happened?" And but
And
now
then
there's rules against that. You can't do that anymore, right?
No, exactly. And they were interviewing some of them. They're like, that was awesome. Like, you've seen that in video games and it worked. I mean, it only worked for one corner, but
Yeah, you're only doing that for one time.
Yeah.
But now they're saying that you can't do that.
No.
Why not? Now, what happens? You get disqualified if that happens?
Yeah. I mean, you'd get black flagged. So
You're
even
done.
if that was the final lap, you would basically be the last car of the final, the last car of the leaders or whatever. So, I mean, it wouldn't do anything good for you. They don't want you to do it because there is inherent danger in doing it.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
Because you're ripping metal off the side of your car, just burying it in the wall. And then if you snag the wall in any spot, if it's not perfect, then it's going to shoot you down into the other cars. And like, it could be a real problem.
This
So-
isn't like Cold Trickle in Days of Thunder.
Exactly.
Where he always goes to the outside.
Right. Nothing
He's
I
going
can't do.
outside, Russ. He's going outside.
Yep.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I remember Days of Thunder, but I also remember what was the movie where they like time warped a guy out of the car just as it exploded. Like it was a race, and they brought him in to race in the future or whatever. It was very odd, but I remember it. It had Anthony Hopkins in it. That's what I remember. Anthony Hopkins was like part of this, and they time warped this guy out. It was like he get into this horrific accident, but he was like driving either a NASCAR or F1 or whatever, and next thing you know, he's up in the air and explodes, and they wind up time warping him out of there, and he
Sounds
winds
like
up
some
racing.
quantum leap stuff.
Yeah, it was weird.
That sounds
It
horrible.
wasn't a true. It was a science fiction movie, but it's. Anyways, neither here nor there.
Free Jack, I guess, is the movie.
That could be, yes, with Emilio Estevez, yes.
Emilio,
Emilio.
the Mighty Ducks man.
Charlie Sheen's brother.
And no, I didn't have an F1. I had a rally side by side arcade game.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So before
I had a pole position game.
pole position was rad. Pole position was rad. No, so before COVID hit, my house was basically a sports bar. I had like actual out of the bar games. So I still have my Papa Shot, but I've gotten rid of all the rest of them. I had shuffleboard, skee ball, multiple arcade games, and so when COVID hit, I was like, well, I mean, if we were stuck at home, there are worse homes to be at.
What am I to say? You're not lying.
Papa shots.
Did you have friends come over? I know you got to maintain distance, but did you have friends come over and say, hey, the bars are closed, but you can come over to my house for some drinks?
Yeah, well, we still hung out with all of our friends that were on the cruise with us when COVID started.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we were on a cruise ship when this thing kicked off. So, we were the last ones to not get stuck on a boat. We docked in Miami. And if you've ever been on a cruise, getting off the boat, usually you kind of go through a customs type of situation. Yeah. And for
Right.
COVID, it was funny because you didn't like send your bags down. Like you had all your stuff with you. And they're like, yeah, go down the hall. and then through those doors over there. And we're like, oh, okay, we're probably doing this one at a time because they got to make sure that people aren't getting sick or whatever, right? Otherwise, they're going to quarantine the boat or whatever. We walked out those doors and it was the curb. You're just like, oh, they were just like, like if you wanted to bring drugs in, that would have been the boat. Like, because they're just like, welcome home.
So, Bo, do you remember the Rush series? Like an arcade.
Yeah.
So one of my buddies has every single like Rush game ever made, like the arcade style. And every year over 4th of July weekend, he does like an actual tournament. So we have like 20 people over at his house. We're just playing like all the Rush games like all day. I'm like, that is the best thing ever.
That is awesome.
I didn't have Rush. And to answer your question, Robert, it's a car. The car difference starts with the car itself.
Like literally everything is different.
Yeah.
One's open wheel and one is not.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that's similar is sometimes they're on the same track in the same year.
And sometimes, and you know what? They both have green, white, and checkered flags.
True. Yeah.
They have that.
And one of them has a roof over your head, and the other one, you're. That's why you get that helmet. You're just out there in the wind.
Well, they got the halo. They did away with you instantly dying.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's funny when you're watching, you know, the difference between the two, because when you're looking at F1 cars, they're really light. The tires are huge. You look at, you know, NASCAR, and those are, you know, 3,800 pound cars.
Oh yeah. Big time.
I mean, you know, so it's wildly different. And it's also why F1 is so much faster through, you know, corners and everything is, I mean, those tires are this wide. Like they're massive.
With no grooves at all. Like it's all straight, just rubber to the road.
Yep.
You know, it's like you want to have as much grip as you can.
Yeah. I mean, NASCAR's the same way. Neither one of them run in the rain. But now when you start getting into 24 hours of Daytona and, you know, stuff like that, those races can happen in the rain. And then their rain tires are actually pretty wild.
What's the difference?
Well, I mean, you have to have water channels, right? Otherwise, you just hydroplane like crazy. And so some of the different designs of rain tires can be designed just based on the amount of volume that it's raining. So you can have multiple different types of sets of rain tires. And then they have different grip as well. Also kind of a weird difference for Formula One versus NASCAR is you have different tires during the race. So you'll end up with different rubber of tire. So they'll actually have a different painted stripe on the sidewall, and it lets you know how sticky or hard that tire is. Whereas in NASCAR, you're running the same kind of tire the whole time.
Okay.
So, okay, for instance, the last race that I happened to be at down in Dover, they had a rain stop.
Yeah.
And not only that, like so the other thing in Dover is that if by chance you have a caution flag come out within 5 laps, you have to run 5 laps. You have to run consecutive 5 laps without a caution. So it's like you could be like, hey, we're down to the last lap. Oh, there's a caution flag. And now we got to run another 5 laps again. So
well, usually what it is you're running the caution laps, and then they'll do, like, if it was at the end of the race, they'll do a green, white checker.
But that's not how they do it at Dover.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's at Dover. You had to run 5 laps. So and I don't know why, but it's like I guess they had to make it's 5 miles. So it was literally, they had to restart like 4 or 5 times. So they wound up running like a number of, like, I think it was like 408 miles.
Okay.
You know, or 508 miles or 500, like 9 miles. It was weird because you stop and then it's like, okay, you got to clear the caution and then you start going again for 5 laps. So it wound it was like 3 restarts on
Yeah,
that for that 5.
That's interesting because generally for NASCAR, it'll be whatever clears the caution, and then if you went past where it would normally end, it would be a green white checker. So you get the green white, the next time through is the final lap, and then there you go.
Got you.
So
Okay,
that's typically. So I'm curious why that would be different for.
Well, maybe that's what it was. Maybe it was 3 laps rather than 5, but I thought it was 5 laps. So
and if you were counting the caution laps, it probably was 5, right?
That could be
because under caution there is no limitation on the number of laps, right? So you could be running cautions for however long it takes them, unless it's something that's really massive. Then they'll red flag it, have all the cars stop so they can clear whatever is going on. But
they had to do that as well because of the rain.
Yeah,
because the rain came, and I remember doing it. I'm like, rain is no bueno for NASCARs.
Not at all.
You know what I mean? It's not good at all.
No,
so I learned a lot about NASCAR in the last race that I went to, and like even being right up against the thing and having the little bits of rubber pelt you in the face as they're driving by is a cool experience. It's like you just feeling the power of those vehicles going by is something that was awesome to kind of witness and be a part of. And they don't allow you up against the fence line at all. Like there's guards to make sure. So there's like the rail, and then there's the fence, and then there's the cars going by. So you're not allowed to go right up against the fence line. But it was awesome.
Rob, F1 is definitely more prestigious, and yes, that is international racing at its finest.
Yeah, it's like you need to have a few $1 billion invested in F1 before you can become like a team in that. Like it's I guess you're going Indy racing is the step below that, right?
Yeah. And Indy racing is national. Like that is primarily a US version of it.
So what is F1? What are their speeds? Like what is a typical speed that they would be traveling at?
220?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? 220? Yeah. Wow, that's crazy fast.
Yeah, and they get up to speed really fast because the cars are really light. It's why they tend to have real technical courses. Because you don't want those guys running those things wide open.
Right.
Right.
So I mean, when you think of the tracks that they run on, just the straightaways that are a drag strip essentially, they're getting up to exactly that. They're 215, 220, 225.
Even at Indianapolis Motor Speedway during the Indianapolis 500, they can get up to 250 down that front stretch.
Yeah, and those aren't F1 cars; those are Indy cars. Yeah. And so, if you had the money of an F1 car on that, be wild.
Yeah.
Jeez. So how much more of a difference is it from Indy to F1 in terms of, I guess, money? Like how much more does a car cost? I'm assuming the car for F1 is exponentially more expensive than an Indy car, and the size of it, are they the same size or are they smaller? Or?
They are similar sized.
Okay.
So the specs of them are different, but they are similar sized. F1 costs more for sure.
Right.
Indy is still very expensive. I mean, your car's probably $1 million in Indy to be remotely competitive.
Right.
In F1, it's probably 10.
I was going to say add a 0.
Yeah.
Just add a 0 in the entire situation. Whether if you have 100 million, it's $1 billion. If it's $1 million car, it's a $10 million car. It's just because you're paying for, these are rocket engineers that are working on your car. You know what I mean? Those are definitely like those guys are NASA and stuff like that. Like that's that type of quality that you're getting.
That is really who found the carbon fiber tweak in the wing to gain that little bit of power. It was rocket engineers. That's who they had designed it. So I mean,
wow, that is crazy.
That is just insane money is all that is.
Okay.
So yeah, but I know I've been reading a lot about the F1. Like I've been trying to do research on F1 just because it's part of something that I'm trying to get more involved into, and you have to learn, and it's a lot to learn. Like I will never get behind a wheel of an F1 because I can't play on like there's just it takes years just to learn the steering wheel.
Right.
Oh yeah.
You
I'd
know, and-
love to jump in one of those simulators. I think that'd be a blast. I mean, I've
So-
wrecked constantly, but I'd be like, oh, I downshifted. I just popped a motor. Dang it.
oh.
I don't got to pay for this one.
Oh.
Wow.
But I mean, and like I always think about it, like you think of the tires on the F1 cars, very similar to the back tires of a, what's that? I guess a funny
Dragster.
car, or whatever it is, the
Yeah,
drag
funny.
cars.
Yeah.
So I would do the drag car because really it's just stepping on the gas,
Right.
you know, for the most part. You know,
And to
it's
make
just
sure you
like-
hit the parachute at the end.
Yeah, you're hoping your hands aren't super active because if they are, it's going bad.
Yeah, you,
Oh,
you
yeah.
want to be able to hold it as tight as you can.
Yeah. Now, as soon as you see their hands doing this, like, oh, that guy's wrecking.
Yeah, at that speed, you're definitely a wreck.
No, it's funny because when you're getting into those dragsters, they actually rip those engines down after each race.
Right.
So they got a clutch pack that's this big that they yank out after each run. So they yank the trans out, they yank the clutches out, put all new clutches in. Watching them rip those things apart and then rebuild them before the next run is really impressive.
And I'm sure they got like quick disconnects and things like that. That way, like the hoses or whatever, they gotta be like quick disconnect, I'm assuming. Rather than just having like a normal bolt. I mean, I'm sure they're doing
No. You're talking about, a supercharger that takes 400 horsepower to turn.
right.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not its power gain. It takes that much engine horsepower to spin that supercharger.
Yep.
So what
Damn.
you're talking, you're not doing any quick disconnect anything. Like you are
Right.
bolting these things down.
I just wonder how do they take all apart so fast? Though? I mean, without any kind of advanced technology. I mean, if it's just like a regular engine, you're right. That's a very impressive thing to be able to take an engine apart that fast.
Well, you got to keep in mind, these haven't been on the road for 100,000 miles where these bolts are all seized up. Like they just yanked these bolts out.
Right. Well, that's true. No, you're right. You're right.
And it's not like you're one guy named Bubba just like playing around with some wrenches. Like you got an entire team with air tools that are just off you
Right.
go.
Yeah, you gotta think about it. You gotta think about it, Jay. Those cars probably put on like 3 miles a weekend because it's a quarter-mile track, and by the time you're done, you're like, oh, most races you're gonna do in a weekend's 4.
Yeah, and that's provided you win.
Yeah, when you just have your couple test runs the day before, on like you're putting on maybe 2-3 miles a
Man,
weekend.
so I'm
on those
thinking like,
cars.
how much money is that? Are they putting into those cars? Like you said, if they get after every single run, they got to replace parts. I mean, that's got to be super expensive as well.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Hundreds of thousands. You're talking.
Right.
It's
No, you're
not
in the millions.
as
You're in the
yeah,
millions.
like real teams are spending in the millions. But I've got a buddy of mine who has been racing like this for a little while, and he's got a car. He does his thing. I don't think they take it apart each time. They kind of just
So-
but they go compete, and he
Lower
doesn't
level-
win most of those competitions. But
Lower level drag racing, you don't do that. I was talking top fuelers.
right, yeah,
The top level guys, they're the ones that do it. So the funny cars and the rails and all that, the top level of those, they're yanking them apart every race.
Yeah, so
But yeah,
basically,
the lower level stuff, you don't generally have the horsepower that is required to need to rip them all apart.
per race. So like one race is considered one run. The average cost to run a top fuel dragster is $15,000 per race.
Yeah, that sounds right.
That's counting like fuel. That's counting all the parts and everything. And then they said it can cost between $130 and $150 per race weekend, depending on how many races you get in.
right.
Damn, that's a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
Racing is
That's a lot of money.
racing is just a lot of money. Like that,
Yeah, that's what I say.
all
It's a rich man sport.
it is. It absolutely is.
So
That being said, that does get us to the top of the hour. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll See y'all on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Take it easy, everybody.
Peace.